Hello everyone, my name is Morteza. I am a certified nutritionist specialized in type 2 diabetes here in Germany. Today I want to show you 3 ways you can overcome type 2 diabetes naturally. So in the first video, I put the link in the description. I explained all the factors as driving force behind type 2 diabetes. I explained what is type 2 diabetes, what is insulin resistance, and what causes this disease. But I want to emphasize again that type 2 diabetes is not a chronic disease. It's reversible. You can cure it naturally through healthier diet and lifestyle choices, and that really easily. Actually, I'm going to show you 3 ways how easy you can actually become insulin sensitive again and cure type 2 diabetes entirely and permanently. So now stay with me. It goes like this. Look, whatever reason is the cause of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, which I explained in details in the first video, the link is below. The goal is the same, remains the same. You need to become insulin sensitive again. So the opposite of insulin resistance is insulin sensitivity. That means you need to improve, to increase the insulin sensitivity of your body. Now, so that the cell receptors, the insulin receptors on the cell membrane become sensitive to insulin signals, open up and take the sugar out of the blood. So how do you become insulin sensitive again in order to cure type 2 diabetes? Look, the first and foremost step, the strongest and easiest way to become insulin sensitive again is to stop eating this kind of oils, this fluid seed oil, so-called vegetable oils. They are actually not vegetable oil, they are seed oil, highly processed, industrialized processed oils, which is loaded with omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids, and the body has no way to metabolize them and or to convert to anything else in order to store them. And these oils are extremely inflammatory and just bring about insulin resistance. This oil interrupt the fatty acid metabolism on the cell membranes and damage the insulin receptors on the cell membranes and make you insulin resistant. If you want to become insulin sensitive again and also prevent the heart disease, because these kind of oils are extremely inflammatory, and we know that the underlying cause of heart disease, cardiometabolic disease, are inflammation or chronic inflammation, and this kind of oil bring about chronic inflammation. I strongly recommend you to cut off this kind of oil from your life entirely and do not eat them again if you want to cure type 2 diabetes and also prevent heart disease and cancer and other chronic disease. I really strongly, I have been researching the nutrition, science and medical literature for last 8 years intensively, 7 days a week. Please believe me, And I also was by myself, as I explained in the first video, diagnosed with pre-diabetes. So I know what I'm talking about. Please stay away from these oils and start eating animal-based fats like butter, ghee, tallow, lard, bacon, and so on. Like saturated animal fats are extremely healthy because we humans consist of animal fat and animal protein. No, this is another science for itself, why animal fat and animal protein is just crucial and vital to our health. I'm not gonna go into the details into that rabbit hole, but for now I just recommend you stay away from this kind of oil if you want to cure type 2 diabetes. So this is the first step. Don't cook them, don't buy them. So the second one is refined carbohydrates. Look, refined carbohydrates are just empty calories. They just quickly turn into glucose and rise your blood sugar and your fasting insulin levels. It's just crazy. So don't eat refined carbohydrates, because refined carbohydrates have a massive insulin spike, which keep your insulin elevated for long times. And the more insulin you have in the blood, the more insulin resistant you become. If you want to overcome type 2 diabetes, you need to cut off any kind of refined carbohydrates. So when I say refined carbohydrates, I have to emphasize something. Look, all those like junk foods from the supermarkets, and breads and sweets, and you can name it, and these soft drinks and whatever snacks and TV dinners and midnight snacks, all consist of refined carbohydrates. These kind of oils like seed oils or hydrogenated oils or trans fat and chemicals and high fructose corn syrup, which brings about non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, obesity, insulin resistance. Please, you need to stay away from the junk foods and stay away from refined carbohydrates, which has a massive insulin response and brings about the high insulin spikes and make the high, like elevated insulin chronically. So this is the very easy second way to cure type 2 diabetes. Look, I have in this context to say one more thing is that the fact when you eat refined carbohydrates or carbohydrates at all, even complex carbohydrates, your pancreas, a gland here in abdominal area, has to produce and spike a huge amount of insulin because carbohydrate is sugar based, and that sugar need to be regulated to turn into the fat and be stored, and the cells need to be delivered with that sugar. So the pancreas response with insulin on carbohydrate is huge. But if you eat protein, and especially animal-based protein with which is very highly satiated, make you feel full and you stop eating, is moderate. The pancreas response with insulin on protein is very moderate, it's not huge. And if you eat fat, the insulin spike stay very, very, very little, very, very low. So if you eat fat, just let's say insulin spike is so much, when you eat protein so much, and when you eat carbohydrate is so much, it's just huge. That is why if you want to cure type 2 diabetes, please reduce your carbohydrate consumption. You need to eat less carbohydrate. Just I recommend around 50 grams a day, and shift your macros to fat and protein, and especially animal fat and protein, because they are loaded with nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and cholesterol, saturated fat, what are very essential to our health. So this is that was the second. The third one is very interesting. You need actually to do nothing, and it has a huge impact on your health, not only curing type 2 diabetes, is intermittent fasting. Look, intermittent fasting is something like the people, we human, have been practicing for millions of years. In the course of 2.5 million of years, human beings, our ancestors, until agricultural revolution, which was only 10,000 years ago, we have been fasting. Before agricultural revolution, the humans, our ancestors, they went hunting, ate the animals, and until the next successful hunt, they had no food. They had to fast, meaning they ate the animal fat and protein, and they had to fast until the next successful hunt, sometimes for days, weeks, and even months. They had no food. Look, when the people in the caves and mountains and jungles before agricultural revolution, they woke up morning, they had no supermarket, no grocery store, no bakery, nothing. They had no breakfast. They didn't eat breakfast. They had to go first hunting. So, and then that is why we have a term in the science of biology. It says, it goes like this: nothing in biology makes sense unless in the light of evolution. So in the last 50,000 years, only 2% of our genetic code have been changed. That means we are still functioning. Our genetic disposition is still exactly so like before agricultural revolution. That is why I recommend to mimic what we did in the course of evolution, to mimic it. They went hunting, ate the animals, and then had to fast. So you should really eat animal-based protein and fat, and fast intermittently. Just let's say 16 hours a day. Look, when you eat today evening at 6 o'clock and tomorrow at have your breakfast at 10 o'clock morning, you have been fasting for 16 hours. After 12 hours, the glycogen in the liver is the sugar storage. In the glycogen in the real liver, which is limited, is not enough to supply us with energy. That is why the liver start to burn fat for energy supply. From that moment, when this metabolic switch takes place, from the moment when the liver starts to burn fat instead of sugar, it just happens a wonder. That turns the body into a like the miraculous healing machine. So you should really allow your body, you should give your body time to burn fat and to make you insulin sensitive again. You should give time and room to your liver to get rid of that fat. So in this way, by intermittent fasting, you also heal non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, because the liver has time and in absence of insulin to get rid of that fat, to burn that fat, because insulin inhibits lipolysis. Insulin does not allow liver to burn fat. When we wake up morning and eat breakfast, the sugar rise, the insulin rise, and we fill up the glycogen again, and we are on this sugar and insulin mode all the time. We really need to keep the sugar and insulin level down and allow the liver to burn fat. This is the really first and foremost powerful way to become insulin sensitive and cure type 2 diabetes. So the mainstream nutritionists and doctors say eat 6 times a day. That is what I don't understand. Every time, look, you have to look at it like this. When you are dealing with type 2 diabetes, you have always to look at it from the insulin perspective, not sugar, but insulin. Look, every time you eat, it doesn't matter actually what you eat, you spike insulin. When you eat 1 time, you spike 1 time insulin. When you eat 7 times, you spike insulin 7 times. Every time your insulin rise, it stays elevated for hours and hours. When you eat 6 times a day, you have a chronically elevated insulin level. How do you expect to become insulin sensitive again? It's not possible. I don't understand how the doctor says, they say eat 7 times a day and inject exogenous insulin. This is just insane. Why you don't eat 2 times a day and get rid of insulin need in the first place? When you eat twice a day, just let's say between 12 o'clock morning, 12 o'clock noon and 6 o'clock afternoon, you eat twice. So, and then you need, in this case, you need only 2 times insulin. You get off insulin injection. You get off medication for lowering the sugar, because the levels of sugar and insulin stay down and the liver start to burn fat. In this manner, you overcome insulin resistance, you counteract insulin resistance, you improve insulin sensitivity by reducing your need and demand for insulin. So you have to look at this disease from the point of insulin. Good. Now we have here 3 powerful ways. If you implement it today, just don't eat this kind of oil, because they makes you insulin resistant. And stay away from any kind of junk food, because the junk foods consist of refined carbohydrate, which elevate the sugar very badly and the insulin, fasting insulin levels. And they contain also this kind of oils and hydrogenated oil, which brings about inflammation and disruption of like the insulin receptors on the cell membranes, and high fructose corn syrup, which is the number 1 cause of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And we know that insulin resistance starts with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This is now another science for itself. I'm going to make another video about non-alcoholic fatty liver disease because it's very important. And thank you so much for watching this video. Please, if you like this video, press the like button and subscription. See you next time. Bye bye.